Hello, this video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon and my members over on YouTube. Minasan, arigatou gozaimasu. I really appreciate your support. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation. It's for the 20th day of January 2024. I do this each and every morning, a little bit after waking up. It's now 4:56 a.m. I do this to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. You can get a copy if you want from the link down in the description. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with the challenges and opportunities that I met. I plan for the coming day, and then I ready myself for death. But before I do any of that, I like to read a poem. So today is a special one. I'm going to be reading Edward Thomas's, maybe his most famous poem, The Path. The one that actually led me to him. I discovered this poem incidentally, and I went, wow, and so I decided to get the book. Here we go. I've read it a couple of times in the past, but this is the first time to read it in earnest here. Oh, sorry. The path. Running along a bank, a parapet that saves from the precipitous wood below, the level road, there is a path. It serves children for looking down the long, smooth steep between the legs of beech and yew to where a fallen tree checks the sight, while the men and women content themselves with the road and what they see over the bank and what the children tell. The path, winding like silver, trinkles on, bordered and even invaded by thinnest moss that tries to cover roots and crumbling chalk with gold, olive, and emerald, but in vain. The children wear it. They have flattened the bank on top and silvered it in between the moss with the current of their feet, year after year. But the road is houseless and leads not to school. To see a child is rare there, and the eye has but the road, the wood that overhangs and under yawns it, and the path that looks as if it led on to some legendary or fancied place where men have wished to go and stay, till sudden it ends, where the wood ends. Wow. Hold on, I have to just do a few marks, but mark that I've read it, and the yellow pin on the title to indicate that we've got a special one there. I just so much I love about this that you just picture that the path above there's the road, there's the path, but is there a road below? It saves the precipitous wood below, the level road. There is running along a bank, a parapet that saves from the precipitous wood below, this level road, the level road. There is a path. I don't know. I think the road and the path are the same, but it goes where, who knows where. And it's been worn by children's feet who, when there's no school, where are the kids going? The adults are less attentive to the details. They'll leave it to the children to report what's been spied below, down below, looking over the edge. Paths and ways and roads and movement pervade Thomas's poetry. It's probably the reason it touches me so much. One of the little bits there that just causes me to inhale and take a breath was the way that he used the language here, describing the children walking across the path with their feet and the effort of their feet to wear the path down. He says, with the current of their feet, year after year, but the road is houseless and leads not to school. The current of their feet. Wow. I'm sure that when he wrote that, as it came out of his pen, he was like, oh man, wearing it down, but no school. Where are the kids going? As if it leads on to some legendary place or fancy place where men have wished to go and stay till sudden it ends, where the road ends. Maybe it's partially because I've known such paths, especially in Japan, that would lead out of the little mountain villages there, just to nowhere. worn by now no one. That's a good poem. All right, let's carry on. So last night and yesterday, this is yesterday in terms of my checklist. Looks like was there anything I missed? I didn't do the tax stuff. You can see the circled item there. I was going to start to collect my tax documents. I didn't do that. So I should promote that to today. Did I do that? I did. It's right there. And I did everything else. Oh, I need to do, and the dogs are there as well. And then the work was very, very good. I did everything I needed to do for work yesterday. It was a good day. It wasn't a busy day at work. It was a Friday on. I had only one meeting, which completed successfully. It was a good meeting. Went a little over time. Project managers meeting, at the end of the 2-week period, preparing for our digest email and just a status summary of the project, etc. It was a good day of work. Good day of personal stuff too. I got all through all my stuff before work, during my breaks, at lunch, and in the evening. I did go to the beach and thought about getting in the water, but it was the first time it was just too darn. It's not like I chose not to, and it was just too cold. I chose not to. Just sat there and said, nope, not going to do it. Packed up my stuff and went home, and I did regret it. I wish I'd gotten in the water. I'm a little bit scared since doing this. And the waves were a little bit weird yesterday and cold. And there was something about, sometimes the waves do this thing in Huntington Beach where they kind of reach up and they pull back. And about 2 weeks back, I got pulled back hard back out into the deeper water. And I wasn't in danger, but it scared me a little bit. And then this happened, scraped myself on the bottom. And then I got hit by the stingray. I still got the barb in my foot. Maybe it's no wonder I'm a little on edge. What else? Emily announced she's coming back the day after tomorrow on Monday. I've got the day off from work so I can go pick her up. She sent us a message yesterday saying that she's accepted the job that she was offered. Congratulations. So she'll be finishing school in the end of May, starting her first job, in her first career-style job on July 1st. Welcome to that big world, Emily. I almost said welcome to prison. It is the way that I feel about the way that the paradigm that we're in now. It's like responsible, mature adults have to execute 40 years of hard labor at the coalface. That's true. Some figure out how to finish that, how to get released sooner. I don't know how they pull that off. I didn't manage that. Although I knew it when I was young. I knew that if you could be good with money, you could get out of prison sooner. But in a way, I'm glad for what I did. It was the last 10 years of my career that really matured me and rounded me out. It's going to make, for whatever time is left, it's just fine. But it's tough. And now I understand why old people are quiet. I used to wonder, why are the old people, why don't they come tell us young people advice? And some do, but a lot of them don't. They just they're content to huddle around their bingo table. And, I'm talking about real old people, like the old age home. Because I used to work in an old age home, and I was a young man in college. And the old people never really offered any advice unless I asked for it. And I was like, why not? They got all this life under them. It's because, well, two reasons, I think. One is because you can't, wisdom can't be taught. It has to be gained by experience. And two, it's a depressing story. Like I just said, congratulations, Emily, you've graduated from college. Your 40-year sentence has begun. Because life is hard. One of my principles is life will not go well, and even more so the horror show. So yeah, congratulations, Emily, but welcome to prison. Doesn't mean it's not all fun. You can have fun in prison too. I wish you all the best. I'll be there for you to the best of my ability. Any challenges or opportunities yesterday? Oh, we almost got run over again yesterday. This place is Huntington Beach. We're gonna be lucky to get out of here alive. These nighttime dog walks. People just race around and they don't see us. I know we can get lights and reflective clothing, but we're not going to do that. We'll just walk carefully. Nothing else from yesterday that I can think of. Why do I feel like I'm missing something? Oh, I did have a meeting with the dog people, the first meeting with that, and Ryan will be our handler, so to speak. She was very good. She's a specialist for Asia, and I very encouraging to learn that basically like the main thing I'm concerned about is the dogs getting to Japan and getting through customs in Japan. Turns out that the person there is that person, the person named Masa, Japanese person, been doing it for 15 years. That's all they do is escort animals through customs at Haneda Airport. And so I'm glad to hear that our dogs will be so escorted through with all the due diligence ahead of time. I did kind of blow it. This expensive thing. And I did notice there was in the checklist, there was a list of things, and one of them was, what's the destination address? Now, I had assumed when I was talking to the sales rep that we would pick the dogs up at Haneda Airport. And I thought the address, that's got to be a mistake. I should have just run with it and just put it in an address, deliver it here. It turns out they do have that service, and I brought it up yesterday, and she was like, oh, yeah, well, we can add that on. I thought, crap. I should have just put the address in and said, well, you guys are delivering, right? But in fact, that's not the deal that I had with the salesperson, so that's fine. That's all there is for that. Let's settle into the good life. I have 8 objectives and 35 principles, and I will now go over one of them, which is the risk of avoiding risk. And then I'll just talk about that one in detail, and then we'll carry on to go recite the rest of them. The good life principle, the risk of avoiding risk, is carefully worded that way to speak to the fact that there's risk in being too careful. It's one of the reasons my motto is be safe but not too safe. We always hear, or at least I always do in my many postings about the things that I do, be careful, cautious, don't take too many chances, Kurt, be safe, all these things. To my mind, that's good and fine, but I'm also like, but I want to take risks. I do want to extend myself. I am willing to be hurt or to damage myself from even my thinking. Yeah, I can break my thoughts too by, for example, going alone too far and too deep and not being able to recover myself fully back. That's a risk that I'm willing to take, just as I'm willing to take the physical risk. I always have. Because not doing so has its own risk. Mainly the risk that comes of becoming settled into a way of life that may be contrary to how we want to live. This risk is most keen with those who, when they're in their late teens and through their 20s, have some desire for adventure. Some interest, some need, some burning passion to do something, to go somewhere and to experience things, to come back with stories, maybe a few scars, suntan burned, hair bleached from the sun, and bruised and battered and maybe broke, and stories galore. Some people don't want that, but if you are one who does want that and you postpone it, it gets harder to do as time goes by. It's more difficult to have a great life adventure that has the real seasoning and vivacity that we're seeking, because a lot of the seasoning, and I'm using that word vivacity, I think that's the right word, comes of the mistakes that we make, and we are more prone to make such mistakes during our more reckless, youthful period. We're also better able to recover from these mistakes because we'll have time to grow back into them. Go back into our more sane and sober life. So as we age, we become more risk adverse. We become wiser and know how to avoid the risks. But it's the very risks sometimes that make the most interesting stories. Like I've got this one video on YouTube called "Getting Lost on the Road to Yui." It's one of my favorite videos. that whole adventure came about because I made a wrong turn trying to find my way to the village of Yui from another town called Okitsu on the other side of the mountains. And I wound up going up a different mountain path and had quite an adventure up a quite abandoned and desolate bit of mountains over the top and down the other side, not knowing where I was. That all came about because of my mistaken folly at the beginning, at the outset. If I'd waited, I might not have made that mistake. I would have been a little more mature, a little more seasoned, more cautious. If I'd waited even more, I would never have gone. The risk of avoiding risk is the consequence that comes of taking too long to embark upon the life that we want to live, to step upon the path of wildness, which is the way forward and upward and through to new life. It's easy to find the path of wildness. It's the beast tracked through the brush, the course of a stream, leaves blown in the wind, in the direction of our first inclination. It's the path that I'm on right now as Yumiko and I try to find our way back to Japan from this sane and settled life here. It's a great life adventure that we're stepping upon this path. And we are assuaging the risk of avoiding risk by not waiting, by picking dates, by executing the process of dispensing with this life, bringing it to a hard close with no way back, burning the bridges as we go, setting fire to them before we're even across. This is how we avoid the risk of avoiding risk while onboarding other types of risk that may be even more significant and deadly, but if we can get through them, the yield and the gain is well worth the effort and the challenge and the potential risk. That is the risk of avoiding risk. All right. All right, now let's go over the Good Life Creed. There are 8 objectives. These are, and they're all in the book, in the chapter titled Good Life. Number 1, to be always ready to die. 2, to make good and effective use of time. 3, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. 4, to cultivate good emotional reactions. 5, to perform good actions. 6, to recognize true limits and true opportunities. 7, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. And then 8, to keep my balance. Now for the 35 principles. Let's see if I can capture them all. Here we go. They're coming fast. In a particular order. The order is important. They execute the thought process in the particular order. War, reason, homunculus, anchorhold, home of good and evil. Purpose, atomic principle, nature, pirate ride, maturity, social principle, family, public speaking. Temperance, the life will not go well, the horror show, that which must be borne, the feast of Offal, distraction, agency, and the great indifference, the best seat in the house, the restless man, the path of wildness, the great life adventure, the risk of avoiding risk, sin and damnation, complete oblivion, script writing, the bullseye aim, the uphill climb, arena and utility, nothing's enough, the principle of fun, and I know what I missed, and the principle of fun, and then being prepared, and I missed the season of philosophy. Should have been back just a little bit. Okay, I got them out of order, but I got all 35, I think. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. All right. What about today? Well, here's today's checklist. On the work side, I'm not going to do any work today. It's Saturday, but at least this helps me to carry over from Friday the things that I need to see through to next week. So these will ride each day through, and then they'll promote to the front of next week's list. Personal side, all these things I'm about halfway through. I'm down 4 out of 9 items. That's good. I'll carry on from there. Probably a few more will populate as the day goes by. I'll finish this, do all this, feed the dogs, feed myself, come back, read the Bible, and do all the other things I need to do, and then start cleaning the house. I'll probably go to the beach, or in the morning beforehand, and then my wife and I will go shopping, have lunch together, you know, all these things. Look for today, Yumiko and I, probably to make a product review video from Tokyo Central. I had this idea to do shorts, to do review shorts. So, that's what I'll do. Just make a review plan for shorts. Add it to the list. Last thing, am I ready to die? 3 questions need to be answered in the affirmative to say to be ready to die. First of all, I have to ask myself, are my affairs in order? Are my paperwork and my accounts and the finances? And so that if I die, my wife and daughter don't struggle and suffer. Yes. 2, yes, everything is in order. 2, are my relationships sound? To the very best of my ability. There's a couple of people, well, there's really one. My mom doesn't want anything to do with me, but it's not for lack of trying on my part. So yes, it's sound insofar as I can't force her to have a relationship with me, so it's sound as it can be. I called her last week and she hung up on the phone when she heard it was my voice, so she won't talk to me. So yeah, relationships are sound. 3, is my life's work complete? Yeah. Oh yeah. Emily's got a job. Yeah, my life's work's really complete. I got my life's work is being raising my daughter. I got my daughter through college. Still got to pay off her debt, pay off my debt for her college. Still got to pay that off. It's going to be tricky, but I'll find a way. I mean, there's always a way to find means. Means will find a way. Sounds like a cliche. So yeah, and then the other part of my life work's being complete. This book is done. Yeah, I'm done. So my affairs are in order, my relationships are sound, and my life's work is complete. I can die now, any day, any moment, without a single backwards glance. I just picture it being swept out to sea by one of those great waves to then go drown in the depths, and not even needing to look back and acknowledge to my family or anyone that I'm going, because everything's on good terms. Sure, I mean, it could give a little wave, bye-bye, but there's nothing to say. It's not like, I forgot to do something. No, nothing's forgot. Everything's sound and in order to the very best of my ability. With that, I'll stop. I wish you all the best. And I hope the audio is better. Michael, thank you very much for letting me know in comments about the audio issue. I did look in the settings, and I think I found the issue. I was able to turn it up. Hopefully it's not too loud now. Take care. Bye-bye. Be safe, but not too safe. Bye-bye. I will move forward and up. I will rarely stop, and I will never